Anyway, guys, you have not missed Jaroussky. We are going to listen to Jaroussky Lemieux in their Baden Baden concert, singing Pour ti miro now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the Steve-O thing. I know that was kind of ridiculous, but I thought that was a cool little topic to start stream off. Let's get into some really beautiful classical music. All right, everybody. You're safe now, Friday. So that's the first section. We'll go section by section. Guys, yes, Philippe Jaroussky is one of the world's most famous countertenors. Countertenor is a male who uses most of pure head voice, the most falsetto sound in the entire range. We talk about tenors using 80% of their chest voice as they go up, classically trained tenors. Now, countertenors utilize more like 80% of their head voice in most of their singing. So his sound is so pure because he's cultivated this resonant sound that is using the thinnest parts of the vocal folds. It's one of the hardest things to cultivate. Now, this is one of those sounds that people don't really hear countertenors often in pop culture. The closest thing would be like Dimash Kudaibergen, right? Who uses this countertenor range in addition to like a really well-rounded baritonal range to create an awesome sonic profile throughout the entire voice. Countertenors specialize in just that high male falsettist range. And the timbre is very closely related to like a female mezzo-soprano. This duet here is for, I believe it's soprano and mezzo-soprano, but for earlier music, the ranges were much smaller anyway, so you could have different high voices doing it, different treble range voices, such as countertenor, mezzo-soprano, soprano. This is a love duet, obviously. I think it's pretty clear. One thing we've listened to recently that is very close to this kind of music is Stabat Mater Dolorosa from the Epica concert where Simone and Flor are singing those really crispy, crunchy harmonies. I don't have my piano on hand, but I think you can hear the difference between a major first and when people come in and how crunchy that harmony is, and we get this tension and release throughout the sound. That's the core of this kind of duet is the tension and release of two lines intertwining with each other. It's very closely related to the thematic material of these two characters sort of falling in love and having this romantic intertwining of themselves. Usually when this is staged in an opera, you get them both on a bed or on a couch together, kind of touching each other, and the line is very seductively wrapping around itself. The vocal lines, that is, the two vocal lines are very close. The countertenor is an actual voice type, yeah. The countertenor is a voice type, and there are roles written for countertenor, usually earlier music, but in contemporary opera now, a lot of composers are writing for countertenor as well. It adds a different type of idea in the medium. It's just a different artistic tool for a composer to use, the countertenor voice. And then the countertenor as a performer has different qualities using the head voice to use. Again, the idea of Fach in general is kind of going out of the way. I can make a head voice sound, like a pure head voice sound, a falsetto sound. But, you know, I haven't worked at it, so it's not going to be anything near of what someone like this or Dimanche, that kind of thing. When you work at that range, this is the kind of repertoire you can sing. That's basically what a countertenor is. And there are some people whose voices are better suited for that kind of thing. What's interesting, I think, is that baritones and lower male voices have a better time switching to becoming a countertenor for some reason. I use my head voice with more pressure, so those muscles are more adapted to making louder sounds or more chest voice dominant sounds, and combining that head voice quality with a more chest voice shaped mechanism. Details aren't important, but for a countertenor, for a baritone or a bass baritone, singing in that countertenor range is using parts of the musculature that's never been used before, so it's more easily adapted, I guess. It hasn't been pushed into any specific range. You want to know what the head voice is? Well, let's listen to another section. We'll talk about it after we hear a little bit more. So listen to how he's singing. He is singing in a completely head voice dominant way of singing, Charlie. So just listen to that. So I remember when I studied this in school. Hi, Shore. Good to see you. Oh, Charlie, just do it in this chat. Do it in this chat. In Twitch chat, I mean. When I studied this in school, we talked all about how the musical texture replicates like sex, basically. At the beginning, it's very slow and soothing. We got that first section. In this section, it's more like intense, right? Dun 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 dun. Back, 300 years ago, these types of musical dance textures would be used to replicate kind of what happened in real life, and it wouldn't be an exact representation like we get with a lot of singers today, who really try to emphasize the actual bodily implications of what happens when you are in that kind of situation. But for people in the 1700s, they would be hearing this and be like, "Oh, it's so dirty!" Like they're so percussive and whatever, Who's talking? So this sound he's making, this head voice sound, right? It's falsetto, right? That's the sound like when you go up and your voice cracks. If for a guy's voice, a male voice, a voice has gone through male puberty, the voice is going to crack into a falsetto position. Basically, your cords are going to straighten out and become very thin and phonate on a thin position. Now, there are varying levels of ease in that area, but that's falsetto, right? And you figuring out how to create more resonance within that type of phonation is what countertenors do. Now we're back. So, how gorgeous. I mean, like, you can't, there's no words for that. I pulled up the lyrics to give you guys a translation just to emphasize kind of what I was saying about what this song is about. You hear it in the musicality. You hear this intense romantic combination, this intertwining of two voices and two characters, right? See, that's not a countertenor. Not at all. Por ti miro, which is the name of this duet, translates to I gaze upon you. The lyrics, I'll just read it out. I gaze upon you, I desire you, I embrace you, I enchain you. No more grieving, no more dying. Oh, my life, oh, my beloved. I am yours, you am I. Yours is mine. My hope, tell it, tell. You are truly my idol. Yes, my love. Yes, my heart. My life. Yes. That's the CCC part was that. Yes, my love. Yes, my life. My life. Yes. That's the CCCCC. So anyway, that's Por ti miro. Now this video keeps going on. Let's see what they do. I mean, so I won't deny, like, Cosmic, you say that right now, like, you're like, am I the only one who's moist right now? Like, this is what people got out of opera in the 1700s and 1800s, and they would go hear this stuff, and they'd be like, oh my God, I'm so impassioned right now. You know, this was before movies, before TV, before the internet. This was where people got their jams from, right? This is where people got, you know, that intense romance. This was romance TV. You know, this was like sitcoms. This was, oh, they're gonna sing more. I wonder what they're gonna sing. Oh, this is different. So I'm gonna say it. You guys are shocked right now. When do you guys think this was written? I'm gonna do a poll. When was this written? I'm gonna give you centuries. 1900s, 2000s, 1800s, 1700s, and why not 1600s? 2 minutes. Just vote in the thing, and I'm not gonna read all your things. Too many. They're so fun. This is so, like, I've had talks about opera singers here before, and like especially young opera singers trying to make a career out of it. And it's the idea that, like, if you have nothing to say in your performance, and if you are not good enough, you know, don't even do it, because this is the kind of vocal performance for operatic singing that is worth doing, because this makes people walk away and say, wow, like that was real. This is real music. This is the kind of operatic performing that we need today, and we don't need anyone doing anything less. See, he's a baritone. He has that baritone timbre. Well, it's more of a tenor quality, but But regardless, he has that chest voice. He just doesn't use it. So you guys voted, and the predominant idea was 1700s. Now let's look at all of the 1700s. In second place was 2000s. Third place was 1800s, 1600s, then 1900s. Guys, the composer of this duet died in 1679. I don't actually have the actual, date of when it was written in front of me. But this is from the 1600s, guys. This is before any like known opera was written. This is a madrigal. It's just a chamber ensemble, right? Yeah, Natis, you got it, right? This is over. This probably is almost 400 years old, right? And look how fun they're making this. Look how amazing these are real people in today's time. They're not weird people. They're not weird. They're not, crazy. They're engaging with a modern audience, and people are laughing and having a fun time. This is what performing this kinds of music was about. Yeah, 1600s. Yeah, that's the 17th century. But it's not 1700s. This is the 1600s. The 17th century is the 1600s, guys. This is not an argument. Yeah, 17th century is 1600s, but none of the choices had century in it. So, anyway, this is old, man. That's the whole point I was trying to make. Is there were a lot of people who thought this was written in the 2000s. That's the whole point, No, you guys are good. Don't worry. So this came around, Dashmet, before buffo was actually a term. Buffo came around, I think it was like the second or third opera ever written towards the beginning. Maybe it was the middle of the 1600s, around this time, honestly. But buffo wasn't a term at this point, right? There was a lyrica drammatica, right? That was the first type of opera that was composed. It was basically a bunch of these that were turned into a big opera. This is just it's a jaunty, like dancey, folky tune that was composed. I'm trying to find a translation. I think I can find one right here. But it's lagrimosa beltà. Lagrimosa is obviously like crying. And so it's a sad thing, but they're being melodramatic with it, which is what's making it fun. So regardless of, the actual musical implications of the time, maybe people heard this and were like, oh, it's very sad. But they're using this style, which to a modern audience, this kind of madrigal sound with the rhythmic and the drums and the viola da gamba and all that stuff and all these other, guitar type instruments. Hey, what's up, Spider? Good to see you. Thank you. Cheers from DC. This is Italian, yeah. This type of texture to a modern audience is like, you guys nailed it. You realize it's like folk music. What is this? Like bluegrass? Like what is this? Folk opera? No, this is madrigals, which is preceded opera historically. So they had to adapt the way they performed this to a modern audience. Now, you wouldn't perform this the same way for a 17th century audience, because they would probably hear it and be like, oh, it's sad. But to a 2020 whatever audience, they're like, oh, this is kind of funky. And then you bring melodrama to it because that utilizes that funky folk feeling and gives it this new context of humor, which is what they're doing perfectly. No, I don't think this would be operetta. Operetta came after opera existed, because operetta is more like musical theater. It's like numbers, and then speech in between it. That's what classifies operetta. This is just a madrigal piece that they're performing in an incredibly compelling way. Fun though, guys. This is, guys, this is music older than any music you may have ever listened to, right? This is, and these are two performers who are experts at that performance style. You know, they learned the old, early music style of performing the correct way in the performance practice, but they adapted their actual performance and energy to a modern audience. This is why people like myself become so obsessed with approaching opera, because though it's old and it seems so antiquated and it's like grandma's music, it has ideas and it has themes that are eternal, right? That's what's so amazing about that performance. Wow. That was, Inaluki, that was incredibly fun. Thank you for sharing that with me. Like, we don't do a lot of classical music here, though I love it. And so thank you for sharing that. It's a beautiful perspective and a really fantastic performance. And I'm glad we got to share that all together here. Not much else to say, though. Beautiful. Fun. You know, taking this old style of music and just making it into something that we as people in 2021 can appreciate. It's beautiful. Opera is the Formula One of singing. I agree. I think it's inaccessible, and I think it's very difficult to do. And I think it's very difficult to listen to and appreciate because you have to do all that. I spent 8 years in school learning about, what all that stuff really meant. But again, as a performer, it's kind of our job to make it approachable. So I'm fine with that. La Boheme I agree, Madden. La Boheme is the best starting opera because it kind of gives you everything that you get in a stereotype, but it's an incredibly passionate and compelling musical and dramatic opera. It's long, so do it in pieces. I'd say go one act. I think each act is average 45 minutes, so just do one act at a time, take a couple nights, and watch the whole thing. It's really beautiful. La Boheme, Metropolitan Opera versions are always a good one. Dude, I can't believe you missed Charlie's last stream. Who? You know, the big brain singer guy. Big brain? Sounds like he's overcompensating for something. Yeah, probably, but either way, check out the reaction I just sent you. Oh, gnarly, dude. Also, make sure to subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss a single reaction in the future. And if you support him on Patreon, he'll make sure that one of your requests gets guaranteed to be put up on YouTube that month. Dang, these Monday and Wednesday Twitch streams are lit. Yeah, and every Friday, he literally teaches free voice lessons on his Twitch stream through the Big Brain Singer Discord server. Dude, I'm there.